already have given a hint about today's session. Today's session should help you to understand how to speak about the current ongoing situation across Middle East. Many people, including people in churches, there would be some people in churches, there would be people inside your offices, colleges, around you who would be criticizing Israel of what is happening. Against all of them, I would say you should not fight, but you should prove it otherwise, using Bible as a point, using history as a point, and using correct base as a point of debate. So in today's session, I believe it will help you to understand much deeper on what is happening, right? So let's enter today's session with a word of prayer. Before that, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, great. And is the screen visible properly?
Yes, Asja.
Okay, great. Father Lord, thank you very much for this new day, O Lord. Thank you very much for everything, O Lord. Father Lord, thank you very much for all the people who have stuck up here to listen to your word and to understand your word in a much deeper fashion, to help you, many people come unto you in a very strong way, O Lord. Help our base, help our roots, and help our knowledge to be strong so that we are not dethroned, O Lord. Thank you very much for being with us, O Lord. Dear Holy Spirit, please guide us from the start to the end of the session, O Lord. In the holy, powerful, majestic name of Yeshua Mashiach of Nazareth, we stand united and pray to Almighty Father. Amen. Okay, right from October 7th, before that also there was issues around Israel, that Israel is annexing Gaza, West Bank, and the so-called Palestine. In the earlier sessions, we understood there is nothing known as a Palestine, with proofs, right? So what has happened in the last 7-8 months is Israel entered into a war with Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization backed by Iran. Okay, and there are many people who are dying out there. Then Israel is attacked by many forces, like any which ways. Hamas is attacking Israel from Gaza side, little bit from West Bank side. From Lebanon side, Hezbollah, another Iranian-funded terrorist organization who has a force of estimated 1 lakh terrorists inside it. They are also attacking Israel from the north. If that's not enough, Houthis, a group known as Houthis from Yemen, they are also attacking Israel. Strange, no? One small, tiny piece of land being attacked from all sides. If not, at least from 75% of all sides, right? Then post that, you see Iran directly attacking Israel with missiles, which should not have happened. I mean, a country directly attacking another country, which is very dangerous. Who did it? Did Iranians really do it? We'll learn that in today's session. Or was somebody else behind the scene? And when you see all these incidents, glued to the factor was one more incident, few more incidents, like, the top Iranian generals being killed by Israel, because they were planning attacks on Israel. And if that's not enough, the president of Iran, while he was in a chopper on a visit to Azerbaijan, while he was returning, his chopper went missing and he was out of the picture. He and the entire crew was, I would say, was killed, oblique murdered, we don't know. So series of events happening around Israel and around Middle East. Everyone is asking what on earth is happening. Are we at the end of the age? As per biblical prophecies, there are questions like this. If that's not enough, there is a news about third temple being built. See, I am a little wary about YouTube videos. Every now and then people will say third temple has been built, it is announced and all. But when an Indian Hindi channel, a news channel, showcases it as a news, not as a biblical prophecy, as a news, what is happening around the world, then I would say something is going on in Israel. Because as per the prophecies, the third temple has to be there before Jesus comes back. First temple was built by Solomon. Second, under the reign of the King Cyrus. The Jews rebuilt it. After that, the third temple is never built. Now, the scene in the air is the third temple is also going to come up. What on earth is happening? Israel, the centerpiece of attraction. So, when you read Bible, Ezekiel and Daniel are those prophets and those books which mentions very clearly about the end age and the prophetical timelines. So that's why this session is termed as Ezekiel and Daniel, as if they are reporters. They are reporting from Persia. Persia is what? Iran. They are reporting from Persia on what actually is happening. Not now, but they have reported this as if they are reporting from a news channel. They reported this 2,500, 3,000 years back. It's very interesting. So these two books of Bible coming back to hit, they're coming back to hit our memories again. So are these two books, Ezekiel and Daniel, the key to our existence on planet Earth? Let's see. The Bible says that, at the end of the age, the entire world will be focused on Israel. This tiny little nation, Israel, Bible says at the end of the age, Israel is going to be at the center of controversies. It's going to be attacked. See, there are multiple verses. I'm just showing it off on the screen. You can read it. There are multiple verses across Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, which says Israel will come back. Israel was not there on the world map till 1948, May 14th. As per the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 66, verse 8, Israel came back on the nation, on the surface of the earth in one day. That was a prophecy. I'm stunned and surprised. I would have repeated this multiple times in the last 5 years during all the sessions which I've taken. I'm surprised. Why don't the churches teach this? Our churches are really good, but they have lost in the so-called theology somewhere. When it's all man-made ordinations and man-made stuffs which they give more importance to. I understand theology is important. I understand knowledge of Bible from the good aspect is important. But how many church leaders are teaching about biblical prophecies? I was having a chat with one of the pastors, not pastors, sorry, one of the reverends in one of the churches. I won't say which church and all. One of the leading churches in India and of course in the world. He was saying, and many of them were saying to me who are in touch with me, there is a limitation to which a question can be asked. And everything has to be in the limelight of everything is good, you should speak good, you should never say bad, you should never say to the public what is going to hurt them. No, that is not the case. The Bible is explicit about good and bad. You need to tell to the public. You need to tell to the congregation. As Hosea says in the book of Hosea, due to lack of knowledge, my people are destroyed. We know who Jesus is. We know who Father Joseph is. We know who Mary is. Come out of that. Teach the congregation, I would say, what is needed in today's world. What about prophecies? What about eschatological debates or points, which is very much needed in a society which is every day asking questions. Prove me if the Bible is right or not. The new generation is asking questions like this. So in today's world, I would say the church has to jump 2 leaps ahead of what the society is right now in. They should go into I would say eschatological sessions, end time sessions, prophecies mentioned in Bible. Then only today's generation and yesteryear generation will establish the faith in Bible with full solid proofs. And it surprises me a lot when Israel as a nation is not revered in the churches properly. In all our churches we say the Israel and the God of Israel. The God of Israel is stated everywhere. But Israel as a nation, we condemn it. Most of the people condemn it. I don't know why. Lack of knowledge. Coming back to the topic, there are many verses, Old Testament and New Testament, which says that Israel will come back. It came back. After coming back, Israel will fight many wars. There are prophecies. We have dealt with these prophetical sessions. And Israel has already fought many wars. And during the end of the age, third temple and all will come back. It is already clearly stated in Bible. But apart from that, it is also stated Israel will be the centerpiece of world's attraction. Ukraine and Russia is fighting. little bit, you can see uh, frictions around the world. People tend to, the students, of course, across the world, they tend to raise voices why Russia is attacking Ukraine. But the voice goes down, and after a point of time, nobody cares. In Africa, two nations are fighting. In Middle East, I would say not Middle East, in the Eurasia part, Azerbaijan and Armenia were fighting. Not many voices were raised. India, Pakistan, it always happens. But when Israel does anything to defend itself, why do students across the world, especially in Europe and USA and UK, why do they object to it? Lack of knowledge. Acting ignorant, acting like fools, and siding with what is not biblical. Lack of knowledge. Why this centerpiece? Why this tiny nation is always the centerpiece? If you attack Israel, no problem. But when Israel defends itself, there is a huge issue. There is something wrong with this agenda. With a logical mind, if you think, you will understand why this is happening. So on October 7th, on the screen, Hamas attacked Israel by breaching their borders. They went ahead. As per the true stories, they butchered, I wouldn't say killed, they butchered small babies, left and right. They raped many women. They killed many men in the name of their religion. And I was surprised to see some of the audio recordings of the terrorists, the so-called terrorists, speaking back to their families. I have killed a Jew. In Gaza, there was a prize money announced. For one Jew, they will get one flat. They were killing Jews left and right. Wow. A massacre. Which the world, yes, they objected to it then, but now the world consciously, they tend to remove that picture. They tend to question Israel. How many hostages were taken? Hundreds of hostages were taken and brutally murdered. How many girls and women were raped? We know the stories. So October 7th, there was a massacre which happened from the Iranian-backed organization known as Hamas. And it brought Israel back to the center stage of the world yet again. If that was the least, on April 14th, 2024, just after 6 months, Iran attacked Israel with a lot of rockets and missiles. A dangerous situation for the world to be in. The whole powerful nations on earth, they were fearing that a great war could begin. Is all this a part of old ancient mystery mentioned in Bible? Some of the missiles which were fired onto Israel was not only from Iran. Iran fired, yes. But it was also from Yemen, from Syria, from Iraq, from Lebanon, where Hezbollah operates, and from, of course, Gaza, where Hamas operates. All Iranian-backed organizations. The so-called Palestine, So as a matter of fact, not only Israel shot these rockets down, but also Jordan and Saudi Arabia helped Israel as a big surprise. In the end times, it is also mentioned in Bible. It is not Saudi Arabia as a name, but the name is different there. In yesteryears, centuries back, the name was different. So when you see the prophecies, I strongly believe that Saudi Arabia won't attack Israel during the end ages, and it will side with Israel. So 99% of these rockets which were fired to Israel were shot down. But it was for the first time ever that Iran directly launched an attack on Israel after their formation. Iran, which was formerly known as Persia, was fighting Israel for years now, using proxies, using funding, training to terrorists. But this was the first time that the war between Iran and Israel came out so openly and directly. Was it prophesized? Is a question. Was it prophesized? Is it a part of end time prophecies? Iran has been furiously seeking to get to be a nuclear power. It's been led by, those radical Muslim leaders, radical Ayatollahs. And Iran is the key sponsor of terrorism across. So combine terrorism with a nuclear powerhead, and that's a dangerous marriage to be in. With me? So the leaders of Iran feel there's a leader who is coming as per Quran, who is going to take over the world. And he's known as the Mahdi. It's the imitation of Messiah for them. But here's the catch. You can if you know Bible properly, you can perfectly fit in the description of the Mahdi mentioned in the Quran to the biblical character of Antichrist. Yeah, Antichrist. So is Iran doing this war and getting aggressive on purpose to create a chaos to bring in their Mahdi? Who knows? Well, Israel has a close ally in USA. Take a wild guess who is the closest ally for Iran. It's Russia. Can that bring out a war? Because Russia and US again are there in the picture. Did the Bible speak about this prophecy? Of course, yes. So Prophet Ezekiel was given a prophecy that could be the very next prophecy in line with respect to the current day world. With me? So today in this session, I'll if not briefly, I'll touch base what Ezekiel and Daniel tells about today's current day world situation. So let's jump into Ezekiel 38, all of you. Let me just read this out quickly, okay? I would suggest everyone, post the session, before you sleep tonight, please read Ezekiel, please read Daniel with the help of Holy Spirit and try to understand what's happening. Attending this session is not enough. You need to dig deep here. So let's get deep into Ezekiel 38. It says, starts like this. The word of the Lord came to me. That's Ezekiel. Son of man, set your face against Gog. See, I've taken a session on this, okay? Gog and Magog war. There's a detailed video in our BSRG video, YouTube video. It will be shared with you post this session. So, son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Meshech Tubal. Prophecy against him. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I'm against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Meshech, Tubal, Gog, Magog. These are the places under these names, in the yesteryears, in the biblical years. For example, in today's world, we know Chennai as Chennai. It was Madras earlier. Before that, it was Madras Patnam. Something similar. When you go thousands of years back, the names of the current day places were quite different. And Ezekiel tells the names of these places as it was then. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army. Jumping onto the 5th verse, Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them. Also Gomer and Beth Togarma from far north. It says, there's somebody from the land of Gog, from the land of Magog, who is also a chief prince. Means there's a tribe of Magog, there's a tribe of Meshech, there's a tribe of Tubal. This guy is gonna be a super leader for all these tribes. And with them, lands of Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them while they attack Israel during the end days. 7th verse, get ready, be prepared. You and all the hordes gathered around you, and take command of them. In some other way, this Gog from the land of Magog will be a chief leader. 8th verse, after many days you will be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from the many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had been long desolate. We have dealt with this many times. Israel was not there. It was punished. It came back as a prophecy. The land was desolate. And God started gathering people. Till today, there are many Jews from different parts of the world, even from India. They're going back to Israel. For all those who are new to this, in India, there were 3 places especially where Jews were there. In Cochin Jews, in Mattancherry, if you go, you'll find the Jew town there. From there, many Jews have already gone back to Israel. In Bombay, from Bombay and from Calcutta. Calcutta Jews were known as Baghdadi Jews. And when you dig deep in today's recent scenario, there is a separate set of Jews. These people claim that their ancestry belongs to the Jewish ancestry, and they are from the far northeast of India, from Meghalaya, Manipur, these areas. They're going back to Israel. Go and check Google about this. Go and do a research about this. There are still people whom God is calling. This we are actually going through a prophetical part right now. God is calling them. After many days, in the future years, people will be called back. The Israelites will come back to their land. And in the future years, this confederation of Gog, Magog, Meshach, Tubal, Persia will attack Israel, is what Ezekiel 38 is all about. It's a prophecy of the coming invasion of the land of Israel. So there's no one nation which is mentioned here, but a host of a host or multitude of nations which are mentioned out here. When will that happen? As per the prophecy, it will happen after many days. Generally speaking, about the end times. So Israelites were gathered up from many nations. That I'll As per this prophecy of Ezekiel, there are there's a confederation. There's a group of nations which will attack Israel during the end times. Okay. And if you see the 10th verse, this is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people. I will plunder and loot them, and I will attack them. Is the main idea of this, right? I don't know exactly when this will happen, but I believe this happens when Jews actually start going back to Israel from various parts of the world. So, as per this prophecy, if you see seventh verse, get ready, be prepared. Eighth verse, after many days you will be called to arms. In future years, you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations. So, as per the prophecy of Isaiah 66:8, Israel came back on the world surface for the second time, as per this prophecy. But the thing is, were the Israelites back to the nation yet? Not fully. From various parts of the world, Jews started coming back to Israel. In India, I would say, this point also I mentioned, I don't know whether you heard it or not. There were three major places in India from where, Jews actually started going back. First, there was a settlement of Jews in Cochin, in Mattancherry. You know it now as a Jew town. Kochi Jews, they are termed as. The Bombay Jews and the Calcutta Jews. The Calcutta Jews are known as the Baghdadi Jews. Okay. And in the current scenario, even in the northeastern part of India, the Manipur, Meghalaya, and all these regions, there is a tribe which states our ancestors were Jews and they're slowly going back to Israel. As if somebody would have called them or mailed them or faxed them to come back from 1948. There are many Jews who have gone back to Israel as per the prophecy and they're still going back. So the names of all those nations which would have been identified, which were identified as their current day names, are mentioned out there, which gives the real clues or evidences of the nations in today's modern day world. So I've opened up about the names of those invaders, Gog, Magog, Meshech, Tubal, Persia, Put. Many nations are there. I've opened about the names of these invaders in my previous session on Gog and Magog, which was held some 2 years back. I would recommend the video to be shared in the group. So in the interest of time, let me tell you who the leader of this attacking nations would be. It's Gog, and in today's scenario, we understand this nation as Russia. With me? So Russia is the key here, but today I won't enter into explaining why it is Russia. Today I would be focusing on one of the nations who also is a key here, who also is a part of Ezekiel 38 confederation, who will attack Israel during the end days. So if you see the names of other nations mentioned in Ezekiel, one of the nations mentioned here is Persia. There is no question on the issue of who this could be. This name is the most clear-cut name of the lot. Gog, Magog, Tubal, Meshech. In today's scenario, where are they? We don't know. Strange names. Beth, Togarma. Where are they? We don't know. But there is one name mentioned here which we actually know who it is. This name is the most clear-cut of the lot. And this nation has not changed as far as its identity is concerned. It has not changed in 2,500 years. It's a distinct nation. This nation is more than 1,000 kilometers away from Israel towards the east. This nation was considered a hero in Israel and in the hearts of all the Jews some time back. It was called Paras in Hebrew. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm connected. Anyone?
Yes, yes, you are.
It was known as Paras in Hebrew. In Arabic, it was known as Faris. In Greek, Persis. In Latin, it became Persia. It is the nation of Persia. When Ezekiel wrote this prophecy, Persia actually was not a superpower yet. It was growing. So it was Persia only which was led by King Cyrus, who helped Jews to build the second temple. The book of Esther, the entire story, the plot was held in Persia itself. So if you dig deep here, I believe in the Bible, when you see New Testament, there's something interesting which comes out. There were three Persian scholars, the Zoroastrians, who came to Israel looking for a king. These three were known as the Magi, or the three wise men who met baby Jesus, the Persians. The Bible says that this very friendly nation of Israel will become its arch enemy before Christ comes back. It's dangerous. How true it is. So, what happened to Persia? It existed as Persia for thousands of years. But for all you know, in the 20th century, I think it is 1929 or 1919, I don't recollect the year, this nation changed its name to, on the screen, Iran. Now, this may surprise you. When Israel came back, as per the prophecy mentioned in Isaiah 66:8, Iran was not an enemy of Israel back then in 1948. In fact, Iran was one of the nations to recognize Israel in 1948. Amazing, no? They had close ties. Israel saw Iran as a natural ally or a friend. Even after the Six-Day War, Iran supplied Israel with oil. Can you believe that? They supported Israel. They had military links too. Can you believe that? But the prophecy of Ezekiel says that Iran would be an enemy of Israel during the end of the age. Iran was a friendly nation to Israel. People used to laugh, at this prophecy. Oh goodness, Ezekiel says this, Daniel says this, Iran will become an enemy of Israel as a nation. People used to laugh at it. My dear friends, let me tell you something. If Bible says something, if God has prophesied something, it will come to pass. Iran, who was a friendly nation to Israel, became its arch enemy. Till 1979, everything was fine. But post 1979, when the radical Muslim leadership started creeping into Iran, the situation changed. So, in accordance with Ezekiel's prophecy, Iran, who was a friend of Israel, it will go from being a close friend to becoming an arch enemy of Israel. All in line with biblical prophecy. So Iran, as per prophecy, won't be just an enemy, but it will also attack Israel. That's a different thing. Being an enemy is different, and and attacking is different. It will not only be an enemy, it will attack also Israel. You know what? On the screen, I've done a research on this. Generally, I've posted this picture here. From the 1980s, Iran had been attacking Israel using agents, terrorists. Iran's radical groups have hands in Iraq also now. In Lebanon, under the tag of Hezbollah. Iran operates in Gaza and West Bank under the tag of Hamas. Iran operates in Yemen under the tag of Houthis. The Houthis, the rebel group. It's already been attacking Israel for years now, from 1980s. And what happened on October 7th, when Hamas butchered innocent Jews, it was Iran only behind it. I'll take this session into a spiritual mode also. I'm telling you what is happening on the world stage, the ground reality. Why this is happening? There is a spiritual warfare. I'll take you through that mystery also. So on April 14th, post October 7th, when Israel started, defending itself, on April 14th, Iran fires rockets to Israel. Was it significant? Yes. What happened was the manifestation of what Prophet Ezekiel foretold. For the first time ever, Iran attacked Israel directly. All this while Iran was attacking Israel through Hamas or Hezbollah or Houthis from all these different countries which is projected out here. But this was for the first ever time it directly attacked Israel just 3 months back. People could have mocked biblical prophecy of Ezekiel too, stating that the nations fighting Israel are too far away from it. So it's not possible that Iran will attack Israel. But hey, listen to me. If Bible says it will happen for sure. It was the first time ever that a nation mentioned in Ezekiel's list had attacked Iran directly. Now look at this. Persia was mentioned in Ezekiel's list, and it attacked for the first time Israel directly. The war which Ezekiel speaks in Ezekiel 38 and 39 is still to come. But what happened on April 14th, 2024 was gigantic and has set the world stage for the Gog and Magog war to happen in the future days. Now we are going to go deep here. There's a mystery here. Let's come to the book of Daniel. This is my favorite book in the entire Bible. Here comes the book of Daniel for you. Daniel was, taken as a captive to Babylon under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar. While he was sitting there in captivity, God revealed to Daniel what will happen in the end of the days. Some 2,500, 3,000 years ago, I'm telling. So when you read, in the interest of time, I won't read the entire passage here, but I would give you a picture here. Daniel was, when you read this chapter, please go and read this, Daniel chapter 10, or the entire book of Daniel. So Daniel was standing on the bank of the river Tigris, or Tigris, however you spell it. And he saw a man who was well dressed in linen with a fine gold of belt around his waist. He was not a man, he was an angel. He was an angel sent by God. The angel, he was sent by God to answer as an answer to Daniel's prayers of prophecies. He was sent as an answer to what will happen to the Jews, what will happen to Israel. But there was a problem out there. He says, your prayers were coming in time. I would have answered you well in advance, but I was stopped. Who stopped him? Look at the highlighted 13th verse on the screen. Am I audible? Again, just for the interest. Okay.
Yes.
But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to me because I was detained there with the king of Persia. For 21 days, somebody was actually not allowing this angel to reach, the God sent angel to reach to Daniel. Now that is something. What on earth that was? If somebody has to stop an angel, that somebody has to be powerful. It cannot be a human being. And for all your information, when you dig deep, for all your information, as a matter of fact, the prince of Persia is nobody but an angel himself. The angel said, God's angel said he was stopped. And that's why Daniel received a late answer to his fasting and prayers. He was stopped by whom? He was stopped from coming to Daniel from another entity. This entity was known as the Prince of Persia, the general of Persian kingdom. Think about it. Let it go deeper. Not necessary that when you ask, when you pray, there would be many reasons to why your prayers are not answered. There might be frictions. There might be, stoppages, just like how Daniel experienced it. So there was an angelic warfare which was happening. So this evil entity is battling the angel of God. You're getting it, right? It's deep and interesting here. Why did it try to stop the angel of God? Because the angel of God had a message of the end time prophecy from God to Daniel. His message also had message about the Jewish people in the later days, in today's scenario. The message of the end days, as written in the book of Revelation. So this demonic entity is trying to prevent the angel of God from giving the end time prophecy to Daniel. The prophecy which contained the news of the return of Jews back to Israel and Israel coming as a nation, and many more facts like it, including the rebuilding of the third temple in Israel. This demonic entity knows everything, and he is known as the Prince of Persia. We had a game, the video game when we were young. I don't know how many used to play, but there was a game known as Prince of Persia. That's different, but this Prince of Persia is completely different. This Prince of Persia is focused on the Jewish people and it hates them because this demonic spirit was linked in Daniel's book to one particular nation, and that's Persia. Of all the nations on earth, that's Iran. The spirit was the ruler of Iran. You know that? And what's happening now? The Prince of Persia, the Persian master, it's the same. See, spirits don't die, okay? Let me tell you. So it's the same spirit which controls this nation as an instrument. So this entity specifically wars against Israel. So what can we expect to happen naturally? In the natural, this is in the spiritual or the supernatural realm, spiritual warfare. What happens in the natural realm where we stay? So with the return of Israel, we would expect it would reactivate or trigger the ancient war against Israel. See, all these news channels and the social media will not tell you this. Surprisingly, the churches should have told you about this. The churches also are not telling you about this. I am not saying churches are bad or don't go to church. Churches are very good. You should go to church. But the leadership in church, there's a question mark. They should teach things in accordance. They will not, this should have been told to the public. It's not an accident that Iran has come to a war situation with Israel all of a sudden. It's not an accident. The Prince of Persia still seeks to destroy Israel. Keep in mind, this spirit is against Jews and the reborn nation of Israel. So don't believe the news and media and social media. Don't blindly believe when people say, when leaders say, when social media says that Israel butchered innocent babies in Gaza by bombing them. All you know, it was done by Hamas itself. Don't believe it. This spirit is against the Jews and the reborn nation of Israel. We are not supposed to be like them. We are supposed to be in God's team. In God's team. See, I know there are sins happening in Israel. The LGBT gay parades are also happening in Israel. For that, Israel will be punished, no doubts. But Israel won't be eradicated by God again. Israel will be cleansed. That is why, because of all these sins, all these nations will be allowed to attack Israel in the end. And that's wherein they will call, they'll call God and say, we are sorry. Yeshua, you are our leader. They will call and they will tell and they will accept Jesus as their leader. And that's how, the story unfolds. So that's why Iran has become this evil agent on the world stage. Now listen, I am not talking about the Iranian people here. I'm talking about the government. Iran is known to sponsor terrorism across the world. Iran's leaders have time and again and again, called everyone across the world, especially the Islamic countries, to destroy Israel fully. Since years it's happening. My question is, what normal nation does that? It's abnormal. No normal nation does that. Only the demons do it. The spirits do it. That's why Iran, under the influence of, I believe, the Prince of Persia, is still trying to become a nuclear-rich country to destroy Israel. The nations of the world had tried to control Iran. The problem is that they're thinking that they're dealing with a nation here, but they are not. They're dealing with a spirit here. Iran has spread itself to control Middle East, and it's not an accident. It has presence across most of the nations, funding most of the terrorist organizations. It's not an accident. Their only aim is to destroy Israel. It's abnormal. With me? So on October 7th, that was the spirit behind the October 7th attack on Israel. It threatens the region and the world. Remember this. Remember this. If they can stop Israel, is what they feel that they can stop the Messiah from coming back to Israel and taking the world, as per the prophecies written in Bible. That's why this is happening. Let's go one step deeper. Daniel 10, when you read, the highlighted verse again, the last verse. The prince of Persia was fighting this angel. But first I will tell you what is written in the book of truth. No one supports me against them except Michael, your prince. He's speaking to Daniel. This angel is speaking to Daniel. But Michael came to help me. So get this, I feel behind the nation of Iran is the prince of Persia, and behind the nation of Israel is Michael, Archangel Michael. So what should we expect in natural realm of earth to happen when these two entities fight in the supernatural? The result is these two nations will become enemies too. And these two nations are drawn to war as they are drawn right now. That's what exactly you see on earth right now. It's all in the word of God. It's all in the Bible. Michael is also mentioned in Revelation, where he wars against the dragon. What does that tell you? The prince of Persia is an ally of the dragon. And who is the dragon? Research for yourself. Nobody else but Satan. A disturbing scene here before I end the session. The dragon, this is a picture near the border wherein the massacre happened on October 7th, an Israeli house. The dragon, the Satan, is the enemy behind all this. Behind October 7th attack on Israel were the terrorists of Gaza. Behind those terrorists was Hamas. Behind Hamas is Iran. Behind Iran was the prince of Persia, and behind this prince of Persia is the dragon, Satan himself. And on the other hand, let me give you some good news here. Enough of scaring you around. Behind Israel is Michael, Archangel Michael, and behind Archangel Michael is our Messiah. That's the good news. What does it tell you? It tells us that God is real. When you see these prophecies, when you see the current ongoing news across the world, when you see Ezekiel, when you see Daniel, when you see Revelation, with the help of Holy Spirit, when you read all this, what do you understand? It tells us that God is real. What he foretold thousands of years back is coming true in our days, before our very own eyes. God said Israel will come back. It has come back. God said Israel will be the center stage and the focus of chaos, and it has happened just like that. God said nations would come against Israel, and so the nations did and are and will come against Israel. God said in the last days, Persia will become the enemy of Israel. We understood the same thing in today's session. God said in the last days, Iran would attack Israel, and it has done so. God is real. His promises are real. His prophecies are real. His word is true, and you can stand on it. The prince of Persia, influenced by Satan, has fired rockets into the skies of Israel. Many rockets into the skies of Israel. But they forgot that overseeing Israel is our Yeshua from the very same skies. With me? Bet on Israel, whatever happens. Because the God of Israel is true. The God of Israel is God. The God of Israel is for us. For you who is a new believer, and born again believer in Christ, you are also a friend of Israel. Don't forget it. So get ready, as the enemy will fire arrows at you also, you too, because you are in God's team. So don't worry. God will shoot these arrows down. Don't worry about it. We all are facing personal challenges, right? Because we side with the truth. And that's a good news for all of us. If you're facing challenges, if you're facing problems, let me tell you good news. You will be the only one who will be successful with God on your side. Because you're a friend of Israel. Don't fear the darkness, the enemy, the world, the persecution, or the powers of this world. Because much, much greater is He who is in you. The one who is in you is the God of Israel, and His name is Almighty. You just follow Him with all your heart and see your victories coming up. Before I end the session, Psalms 122, 6, 7 on your screens. This is a very, very important verse, and BSRG group has been practicing this always. And I'm so happy to see that everyone who prays in the group ends the prayer with a prayer for Israel. It says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls and security within your citadels. This is a powerful prayer. All of us, the Christians across the world, have to pray for Israel and Jerusalem every day. And when we do that, there is a promise here too. May those all who love you and pray for you be secure, and peace and security be within your lives and walls. There's so much here happening. There's so much to tell and discuss. But in the interest of time, we are not able to do that right now. So be strong in the Lord of Israel. Let Him protect you the way He is protecting Israel right now. And let me wrap up the session with this. If you see anyone pointing out in social media unnecessarily, don't go and fight. Don't go and fight. For fighting, you should need a proper base, a proper training. Read Bible and understand what are the verses linked to prophecies, what are the verses linked to the current ongoing situations. Then, subtly and in a loving manner, state these verses to all of them. If you speak to 100 people, even if one life changes, you're winning that person back to the kingdom of Christ, and angels will rejoice because of you. So I leave you with this. Pray for the peace of Israel and Jerusalem always. Thank you. I open up the forum for questions and answers.